The emergence of the dark empath represents one of the most dangerous psychological configurations in the modern social landscape. Traditionally, we view empathy as the ultimate good, the biological bridge that allows us to feel what others feel. However, when high levels of cognitive empathy are fused with the dark triad traits of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, you get a predator who doesn't just see your weaknesses, but feels their way into your internal architecture to dismantle you from within. While a standard sociopath might lack the ability to understand your emotions, the dark empath understand them better than you do. They don't just mimic feelings, they use them as a GPS for manipulation. In Jungian terms, the dark empath is a master of the shadow integration of the persona. They wear a mask of extreme sensitivity and healing energy. They are often the ones who listen the most, the ones who seem to just get you. But this listening is actually data mining. They're looking for your emotional leaks, your past traumas, your insecurities, and your need for validation. Because they can accurately read your emotional state, they know exactly which button to press to trigger a specific response. They don't need to yell or use force. They use a surgical strike of words that they know will land because they felt the resonance of your pain before they even spoke. This is the false healer archetype. By positioning themselves as your most profound confidant, they bypass your natural defenses. While a typical narcissist demands the spotlight, the dark empath is content to stay in the shadows of your life, pulling the strings of your emotional state. They create a bond of secrets, making you feel that only they truly understand complexities of your soul. This is the hook. Once the hook is set, your autonomy begins to erode, replaced by a deep subconscious reliance on their empathetic feedback. The most lethal weapon in the dark empath's arsenal is emotional gaslighting. Because they have high empathy, they can frame their manipulation as a form of care. If you call them out on their behavior, they will use their empathetic talent to flip the script. They will say, "I feel your anger, and it hurts me because I only want to help you." They weaponize their perceived vulnerability to make you feel like the aggressor. You end up apologizing to them for the harm they caused you. This creates a state of cognitive dissonance where you begin to doubt your own reality. You think, how could someone so sensitive be so cruel? The answer is simple. Their empathy is a tool for navigation, not a compass of morality. They're like a locksmith who knows exactly how the tumblers of your heart move. But they aren't there to fix the door. They are there to ensure they always have a key. They use love bombing not through grand gestures, but through soul validation, convincing you that they're your spiritual mirror, only to reflect back a distorted version of yourself that serves their agenda. To protect your sovereignty from a dark empath, you must understand the clinical distinction between cognitive empathy and effective empathy. The dark empath possesses a high-resolution map of your internal world, but lacks the engine of compassion. They are emotion-smart but heart-cold. They watch your tears not with sadness, but with the cold curiosity of a biologist watching a specimen under a microscope. They utilize a tactic known as perspective taking to simulate a conscience. They can predict how their actions will hurt you, but that prediction doesn't stop them. It simply helps them calculate the exact amount of pain required to keep you compliant. This is social engineering at the highest level. They will often play the victim hero, recounting stories of their own past suffering to lower your guard, creating an environment where you feel obligated to reciprocate with your own vulnerabilities. You must stop being an open book in the presence of suspected dark empath. You must practice emotional enclosure. Stop giving them the data of your triggers. When they try to pull you into a deep conversation about your vulnerabilities, remain neutral. If you deny them the emotional reaction they are fishing for, they will eventually lose interest. They are predators who require a vibe to track. If you become a gray rock, you become invisible to their radar. This involves a radical shift in your social locus of control. You must realize that you are not obligated to share your internal kingdom with anyone, regardless of how much understanding they project. Practice strategic opacity. When they probe for a reaction, provide a platitude. When they attempt to heal a wound you didn't ask them to touch, set a hard boundary. The dark empath cannot function in a world of high-definition boundaries. They require the blurred lines of empathy to operate. Ultimately, the Dark Empath is a reminder that kindness is not the same as goodness. A truly good person has integrated their shadow and chooses not to use their power for harm. A Dark Empath uses their gift to build a prison for others, so they never have to face the void within themselves. They are the ultimate chameleons of the soul, blending into your emotional environment until you can no longer tell where your thoughts end and their suggestions begin. Stand in your own light, and the Dark Empath will be forced back into the shadows where they belong. To engage with a Dark Empath, you must first adopt a posture of emotional neutrality, often referred to as the gray rock method. This involves stripping your speech of all hooks, the adjectives, emotional disclosures, and personal opinions that they use to map your psyche. When they attempt to read your feelings or bait you with a sympathetic inquiry like, "I can tell you're upset, why won't you let me in?" your response must be a non-event. Use flat, factual statements. "I'm just focused on the task at hand," or "I don't have much to say on that." By providing zero emotional data, you starve their cognitive empathy of the feedback loop it requires to manipulate you. When the interaction shifts toward emotional gaslighting, where they weaponize their sensitivity to make you feel like the aggressor, you must utilize the broken record technique. Do not defend your character or explain your intentions. Explaining is a form of submission that gives them more data. If they say, "It hurts me that you're being so cold after everything I've done for you," do not take the bait. Instead, repeat your boundary. "I understand you feel that way, but I am not discussing this further." By refusing to engage in the guilt reciprocity trap, you maintain your internal locus of control and prevent them from flipping the script. Finally, implement strategic opacity by ending the bond of secrets. Dark Empaths thrive on exclusive intimacy, where they are your only true confidant. Break this by bringing high-level transparency to your social circle. If they tell you something in confidence that is designed to isolate you from others, verify it with a third party immediately. When a Dark Empath realizes that their data mining is being shared and scrutinized by a wider group, they lose their power. They require the darkness of a one-on-one dynamic to operate. By stepping into the light of collective reality, you render their surgical strikes ineffective.